Howdy folks. For this Whiskey Wisdom Wednesday, I want to talk about how do you get comfortable with whiskey if you currently are not comfortable with whiskey. It's a question I get a lot, and the one thing that I will say is don't put so much pressure on yourself. I feel like when a lot of people come to whiskey, they expect to, taste the first one and love it, and sometimes that does happen, but more times than not, while your body adjusts to drinking straight whiskey, you're going to have to try a couple of things, and it could take years for you to get comfortable, especially with the higher proof whiskeys. So just extend yourself some grace. It's totally okay. The fact that you even want to get to know whiskey is the thing that's most important to somebody like me. So if you're looking to get your palate used to whiskey, step one, I would say, is just start with cocktails. You don't have to dive straight into drinking straight whiskey. Make a cocktail, even if it's a little bit sweet, potentially a sweet whiskey cocktail, and enjoy it, and progressively have more and more whiskey forward cocktails. If you're not really into cocktails for whatever reason, or you work your way through that and you want to try something different, have straight whiskey but have some ice in it, or potentially add some water. And I'm not talking about how I mentioned before, which is a couple of drops, maybe a little bit more. I know the purist will say that, oh, you're messing up the whiskey or whatnot. But to me, I don't really think like that. So, to each his own. But to me, genuinely, the fact that you want to get to know whiskey is what matters. And so don't let somebody else tell you what the journey should look like for you. So take the whiskey, add a little bit of water to it. If it makes it more palatable to you and it helps you along your whiskey journey, freaking do it. To hell with people that say you shouldn't, because 9 times out of 10, they're not paying for the bottle anyway. Let's see. Once you do the ice and the water, I would say also to start out with, once you start drinking straight whiskey, either with just a little bit of ice or just a few drops of water, start with the lower proofs. Don't go for, the barrel proofs or the full proofs. For those who don't know, when they take whiskey out of the barrel, different B word, they add water to it to dilute it a bit, and to lower that proof. And so there are bottles out there where they don't do that though. And so that makes it a more sharp flavor for when it hits your palate. And so let's not start with those. Start with whiskeys that have a alcohol percentage of around 40 to 50%, not 40. No, yeah, 40 to 45%, not 50, because that would be 100 proof. 40% is the lowest that it can be and still be considered whiskey. And some of the whiskeys I have in front of me are in that range. Surprisingly, the Old Elk and the Michter's are actually the highest. I think the I couldn't remember. So 44%, and then I think 43%, 43%, which is still pretty low. They're both very smooth. Everything here is very smooth. So I would start with those. Any of these would go well. Surprisingly, there's a decent amount of Scotch in my collection that is 40% and very delicious. And characteristically also, Irish whiskeys and Japanese whiskeys are going to be on the lighter side, so you should be able to find more of those that are around in that 40 to 45% alcohol percentage. But also, if you're ever at a friend's house and they're willing to let you taste them, just taste them and you'll find what you like. I was in the process of introducing my best friend to whiskey, and I thought for sure, I was like, oh, she'll hate the smoky ones because she just doesn't like, whiskey to begin with. But giving her some straight Lafroig was actually what got her to love Scotch. So you may be a person that loves peated Scotch, you may be a person that doesn't, but just whenever you get a chance, try it out. Don't go into it with any expectations. Extend yourself some grace. Start with the lower proofs. Start with the cocktail, start with the ice, start with the water, and just have fun with it. I find a lot of people put pressure on themselves about it when this community is all about fun and finding what you love. So don't sweat it. You'll find what you love, and there's tons of wonderful whiskey out there for you to try. As always, I appreciate you spending a couple of minutes with me on your Wednesday, and I hope the rest of your week goes well. If you have anything else you want me to cover in Whiskey Wisdom Wednesday, I'm always down. I just made this cocktail for you all, so if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest you check it out. Absolutely delicious. Made me lose my thought for a second. Delicious. It was the word I was looking for. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your week, folks. Bye.